We can use straight, that can be positive or negative, with list as well. All right. For example, if we have a list like this where we have these elements, and I want to retrieve the elements from the end of the list, that too by skipping two elements, two objects. For example, I want to retrieve 8, 6, 4, and 2. And you can see that we are iterating from the end of the list. So how we can use this slice operation, okay, to make this work. So what we can do is we have to start from the end. So we can say length of A, then colon to the beginning of the list, and we have to make a jump. Now stride comes into picture when we have to make a jump of 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers. All right, so that comes here, that becomes your stride. This time we are going to use negative slash stride because we are starting from the end of the list. So we need to skip how many numbers? We are starting from this point, so 2 numbers you have to skip. Then you will get 6. Then 2 numbers you have to skip. Then you will get 4, and so on. So here you have to write -2. Then you will get this answer. All right. Or you can simply skip all these numbers and you can simply say you retrieve from the end of the list, because the -2, negative number is negative sign is given over here. It means you are going to retrieve the elements from the end of the list. Okay, slicing from the end of the list, skipping two elements. So this will also result in the same list, same sublist. All right. One more thing, now you can easily find out how we can reverse a string. So reversing a string is nothing but two colons and obviously -1, because we need to make a jump of one number. We don't need to skip any, we don't need to leave any object in order to reverse a particular string. So reversing a string will give you these numbers in a reverse order. So that's how you can find out what is the shortcut for reversing a string or reversing a list. It will be same for both the cases. So that is the same thing is written over here. The syntax for reversing a list, it works the same way as way it does for strings. All right. So I hope this part is clear, and we can move on to the next functionality. And this is in and not in. Okay, so where we are going to discuss operators and functions which are applicable for list. For example, first of all, we are going to discuss about in and not in membership operator, right? So these operators, they can be used with list to check whether a particular object exists in list or not. For example, let's take a list: fruits, apple, mango, orange. Alright, so let's say this is a list of fruits, and I want to check whether a fruit named kiwi is in the list or not, exists in list or not. Then you have to use in membership operator along with this fruits. So it will give you false because kiwi does not present in, is not, it does not exist in this particular list. Similarly, we can check for not in. If we say kiwi not in fruits, it will give you what? It will give you true as the output, right? Similarly, if you ask, do not get confused. 10 not in fruits. So obviously this 10 object is not present in fruits. So it will give you true is the answer. Alright. So it is very simple. If you want to check whether a particular object is a member of list or not, then you can make use of these membership operators in Python. Next we have is concatenation and replication operators. Again, these are different operators that we can use. This concatenation operator is used to add, you can say, objects into the list. For example, we have a list, the same list we are going to take fruits. In this fruits list, I want to add a particular element, let's say kiwi. Now, one thing you need to take care is when you write something like this, you are making use of this concatenation operator and you want to add kiwi. What output it will give you? It will give you an array, error because this is not defined. You have to add something like this. Okay, now see. If you're directly trying to add a string object to the list, it will give you an array. What it is saying, you can concatenate, you can use this plus operator by adding, for adding a list into another list. This is perfectly fine that you're in the left hand side, fruits itself is a list, but kiwi is not a list, it is a string object. So you have to enclose this kiwi inside the list and then you can add it in the fruits, right? So one more thing you have to take care. That is fine. This output you'll get is kiwi. But if you print the value of fruit, it is not changed. The original list is still the same. Why? Because this concatenation operator will not modify the existing list. You have to use a different variable, okay, that will point to the new list. A new list will be created in this case, and if you print both the lists, then you can see this is my existing list and this is my modified one. All right, so this is how your plus this concatenation operator works in case of string, in case of list. Next we have is asterisk. That is what? Replication operator. It will give you the replica of objects. Let's say this is your fruit. Let's see the content. These are the content. These are the objects which are present in the list. And if I say asterisk 2, it will make 2 copies of this this list. Check the output. See, this is replicated. These 4 objects are replicated inside a list. But this is only one list. If you look very carefully, there is only one list which is created and all the objects are only replicated. That's it. Because we are going to see the difference very soon. So I hope this point is clear. Usage of what? Replication operator and concatenation operator. Then we have length, min and max function, which returns the length of the string, length of the list, the maximum item of the list and minimum item from the list. Let's take one example where we have a list, the same list we can take fruits, where we have what? 4 elements. And if I want to check the length of fruits, then I can simply use like this. 4 is the length. And if I want to check what is the maximum element, maximum object of this list, and I want to check the minimum elements of this list. So it will give you what? Papaya, apple. Why papaya and why apple is the minimum fruit? It is coming as a minimum. Why it is maximum? In maximum it is showing papaya. Because when you talk about string comparison, okay, so you have to compare all these values to check which number has the highest value. In this way you are getting papaya, right? So if you check the first character, the ASCII value or the Unicode value of the first character, so whoever has got the highest value will be the maximum number. For example, if you want to check the ASCII value or the Unicode value in Python, so we have this ORD function, okay? And in this function, you can simply write, if you have to compare it A, the ASCII value of A or the ASCII value of B, whose value is larger. So you can see the value of A, Unicode value or the ASCII value of A is 97, whereas the value of P is 112. It means if you talk about the larger number among two, between these two numbers, it will be what? This P. So in this way, you can just find the maximum or the minimum number, minimum element, minimum object from a particular list. What if we have a combination of, let's say, fruits, if I add a number 10 in the list, all right, so new list is equal to this, and if you print this, now this is my new list in which I have added one integer object. Now I want to find the maximum of fruit. What do you think the output is? Obviously error, because now you are trying to compare these entire, you are trying to do what? You are trying to do the comparison of these numbers with this string object, which is not possible. All right, that is why it will give you an error. Why these 10s are getting repeated? Because I have executed this cell twice. That is why 10 is being added, right? So in general, this max will not work in the cases where you are trying to compare integer and string value. So it will give you an error that this operator is not supported between instances of integer and string. So I hope this part is clear. Next we'll talk about, okay, this is fine, concatenation, replication and length, min, max functions. Next we'll talk about is string nesting. This is very, very important, nesting of a list. So in order to understand what nesting means is, let's take an example where A is, there's a list 1, okay. Let's say we have to store marks of students obtained in Python along with their names. So now I need a list of name of student along with his marks in Python Similarly, one more student, let's say Sham, the marks in Python. Okay, that is, let's say 62. And one more list in which I have Sita and her marks in Python. Alright, so these three separate lists I have created, and using comma I am trying to separate these elements, these inner list, and I want to enclose everything inside a bigger list. So what I'm trying to do here is, inside a whole list, I'm going to insert these three smaller lists. This is called nesting, when we have a sub list inside a list. So this is what nesting. So what can we achieve? So sometimes we have a situation like this when we have a 2D list or a 3D list where the elements are stored like this. Along with the name, the marks is also stored. But what I want to achieve is, I want to find the, let's say, average of marks obtained in Python by these three students. So let's take one example. Let's do it quickly. By using for loop, I can find out, I can iterate over this list, just like we iterate in a normal list, normal 1D list. Okay, so this time, what is the difference? Whenever I'm trying to iterate over this list, for I in L. Okay, so if I print the value of I, what do you think the output is? So initially, this I will represent the inner whole list, the entire list. Second time when you run the loop, this I will represent the second innermost list. Third time I will represent the third innermost list. So when you print the value of I, it will print what? One by one, it is going to print these elements. All right. So if I say print I, it will give you what? Initially, the value of I is the entire list. Now I itself is a list. Type of I, if you check, all these are individual lists you have created, you have retrieved, right? Now I am saying you need to find what? Average of these numbers, right? So in order to get the average, you have to retrieve this particular element from the entire list. So what you have to do is, for I in range length of L, that we do in a normal list. Now this time when you use range function, this I will become 0 initially. Okay, so how we can iterate over this list? L. Now this entire index of the first list is 0, index of the second list is 1, index of the third list is 2. All right, so if I want to retrieve the second element of every inner list, so what will be the index? This is 0, 1. This is 1, 1. This is 2, 1. All right. So entire this thing is 0, and this particular index is 0, 1. Ram is what? 0, 0. This is 0, 1. This is 1, 0. This is 1, 1. This is 2, 0. This is 2, 1. So I want to retrieve. I want to work with these numbers. So I can simply say the last index is fixed. That is 1. 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. So the second index is fixed. That is 1. First index is changing. The value is just changing from 0, 1 and 2. It will go till the length of the list. So value of I is 0 initially. Then second time when you run the loop, the value of I becomes what? 1. Third time when you run the loop, the value of I becomes what? 2. And then what is the length? 3. So it will go till 3 minus 1, that is 2. Okay. So sum plus is equals to. So we take a variable sum where initially 0 is stored, and then we are trying to find the sum of marks of these three students, right? So if you print the value of sum, you'll get the answer 207. All right. If you want to find the average, you can simply divide this number by the length of the list. Okay, because these many students you have in the list. So in this way, you can work with the nesting part, and this is very, very useful. All right, so you are going to see a lot many examples in your lab exercise related to list. So you should be comfortable with using nesting list, 2D, 3D, whatever the nesting is there. Okay. And next, one more example I would like to take, and you are going to tell me what should I write in order to retrieve this DDD object from this list. So this entire thing is a list. Inside this list, how many objects are there? If you want to check the length of X, what will be the length? First, you have to check this. Assume, guess, this is the first object, this entire thing is the second object, this is third object, this is fourth object, and this is fifth object. So you can pause the video here for 2 minutes and you can find it out what will be the code in order to retrieve DDD object. What you have to write here. So if you check the length of X, it will be what? 5, first object. This whole is your second object. This is your third object. This is fourth object, and this one is your fifth object. Length is fine. It makes sense. Now, if I have to retrieve this value, initially you have to first go to this particular index. Now, what is this index denoting? 1. Yes or no? This is 0th index. This is first index. Even if you print the value, you'll get what? The value with the list which is present at index number 1. Now, once you have retrieved this value, from this value you have to retrieve what? DDD. Now, since DDD itself is a part of inner list, so first you have to go into this inner list. Where this inner list is present in this entire list, it is present in the index number 1. This is index 0, this is index 1, this is 2, this is 3. So, index number 1. So, finally I have retrieved till here. Finally, I have got what? A list in which 2 objects are present. Now I have to retrieve DDD. So this is the 0th index, this is the first index. So when I write 111, I'll get finally DDD from this entire list. So it's not tough. You just need to understand how you need to just iterate. Alright. You can just watch it again if you're unable to understand this part. Now next part is, you can say list is mutable. Once it is created, you can modify a list once it is created. Unlike strings, in strings we know that we cannot modify a string, but we can modify a list variable. Alright, and we can replace the values with the order of elements can be changed. Lists are dynamic. Dynamic in nature means we can grow and shrink a particular list as and when it is required on the fly, you can say. Just like we used to do in array list and collection types in Java. The same thing we can do using list data structures over here. For example, if we have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm saying I want to modify a particular list. Okay, so I want to modify this index value with Ram. So what I'll get at index number 2, 0, 1, 2, this 3 is replaced with Ram. Okay, now I am replacing the value. But the same thing is not possible in case of string. Suppose this is A, B, C, D, and I would like to modify the index number 1, 2, let's say Z. Okay, and I want to print the value of, you can comment it out, you can see there is an error because string object does not support item assignment. It means you cannot modify a string in Python. Alright, so this is the case, this is the difference. We have modified it. There are various ways to modify a particular string. I can do something like this also. L of 1, 2, 3. These 3 indexes I want to modify with the list of items, that is A, say B, say C. So that thing I can very well do in Python. Alright. So from index 1 to 3, I would like to add these elements. So at index 1, basically it is going to add all these elements. Alright, by replacing the existing ones, and the last element will be as it is. Okay, at the index 1 and 2, the values will be replaced because I have written 1, 2 to 3. 3 is exclusive, so 1 and 2. At index values 1 and 2, the value is getting replaced. Okay, and the new value is already getting added. So in this way also you can do it. And if you want to delete, can you delete the values? Yes, I can use this del function, this del operator, and then I can write delete this item from the list. Suppose index number 1, and if I want to check, list is first item is deleted. All right, that is A. Initially what was there? 1, A, B, C, 4. So now the value at index number 1 is already deleted. So this thing is clear. We can replace an individual value. We can dynamically grow or shrink the list. We can see that in the first case, the list was growing. In the second case, list was shrinking. So this behavior is given with Python list data types. Next, we'll talk about list methods. So we have these methods in list which do not return any value. So there are two types of methods I'm going to discuss here. First, methods which do not return any value. Second, methods which do return some value, okay, to the user. Now we'll talk about these functions one by one. So the first method is what? Alright. So the first method is what? Append. So these are very, very important and handy functions that we are going to use very frequently. So first, let's see, you have to take an example. There is a list 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to check what this append function does, you can simply use list dot append and question mark. Okay. So let's say, so you'll get the syntax over here, append object to end. So what this function is going to do is this function is going to append a value at the end of the list. All right. So this is a list and I want to add a value at the end. So I can simply say L dot append, which is the name of the list. Okay. And what is the syntax? You can pass an object over here. So I want to append a value 5 and let's see the output. So the value is appended at the end. But 2-3 things you have to remember over here. What if I want to append a number of values? Instead of just single object, if I want to append, let's say L dot append 2 values. Alright, that is Ram and Sham. So list can have heterogeneous types. So what if I want to append Ram, comma, and Sham? So what will be the output? This will lead to error. Why? Because it is saying append exactly takes one argument and you have given 2. So if you look at the definition of syntax, it is saying append object, just one argument is required here. So instead of giving 2 arguments, you can enclose this entire thing in a list itself. So in this way, you will be able to store the elements. So if I print L, you'll see Ram and Sham as a list is added in the outer list. This is very, very important. This Ram and Sham, these are not individual objects. These itself, this is inside a list. It is existing in the outer list. As a list, they have been added at the end. All right. This happens in case of append function, append method. And does this function return any value? No. So in place operation is happening. It means whatever you are doing is going to happen in the original list. It is going to be reflected in the original list. All right. Next is extend. What if I don't want this behavior? I want to add the objects, but not in the form of list. Then you can use what? Extend function. In the list, if let's say I want to extend what? Ram and let's say Sham. If you look at the definition, extend, it is asking an iterable type. Iterable means it can be a collection of values. So you can pass a list, you can pass another set type data, any iterable type item. It can be a list, it can be a string also. So if I'm passing directly like this, it will lead to again error because it is taking, you are giving 2 arguments, but it requires only 1 argument. So you have to pass it in the form of list only, list or any other iterable item. So now if I print the value of L, we'll get what? Ram Sham is added as an individual object. Okay, this was the result of append function. This is the result of extend function. You should know the difference very clearly. All right, and all the operations are happening in place at the original list only. Okay, no new list, no new object is being created here. Now extend is quite similar to concatenation operator. If you have seen, I've already told you what concatenation operator does. Let's take the same example and let's add this Ram and Sham using concatenation operator. Okay, what if I have to do this? Okay, and I print the value of L. So nothing is changed. It's the same, but no error you have received. What is happening here is plus operator, this concatenation operator works just like extend, except for the part is this operation is not in place. In the original list, it is not going to modify the value. You have to create a new list and then you can find out the difference. Now see, these objects are added just like Ram and Sham, just like you had added in the extend function. The same way the values are added at the end and as an individual objects, but a new list is created this time. Okay, so it depends on the requirement. What do you want? Do you want to extend a value, or do you want to use the concatenation operator, or do you want to create a new list? All right, so it depends. So in this way you can choose a proper function or operator to make your to complete your task. So next we'll talk about insert, remove, clear. All right, so if you talk about insert, so as a name suggests, if you see the syntax also, it is asking for an index and it is going to insert an object at an index, right? So let's say we have a same fruits wala le lo ek list, the same fruits list, and this 10 is already there. And if I want to insert a particular element at this position, so what do I have to write? Fruits dot insert. What position? 0, 1, 2. Let's say at second position I want to insert kiwi. Okay, and then I want to put in the value. So at second position kiwi is inserted and nothing is changed, only these values are what? These values are extended, right? Shifted to the right hand side, and the new value is inserted at position number 2. So in this way you can see that this list is growing. This is what the size is getting increased size increasing as per the demand. So this is the help, this is the use of insert. What if I do not mention this 2 over here? To lead to error, because it is asking for 2 arguments and you have only given 1. So how you are going to remember all these parts? You have to see the syntax of the function. Insert is there, you have to check the syntax, and then accordingly you can provide the value. Next we have is remove, I guess. Yes. To remove something, see, remove is asking only one operator, one parameter, that is which object would you like to remove from the list. Now let's say this is my original list. Take the same list, fruits. I want to remove this pen from the list. See what will happen. Dot remove, the name of the object you have to give. It does not require the syntax, it requires only the name. So it has, yes, it has removed pen, but which it has removed? This one or that one? Only one occurrence of 10 it is going to remove, the first occurrence of 10. So this 10 has been removed from the list. If you see the definition also, list dot remove, you'll see it removes first occurrence of value. Okay, so first occurrence of value it is going to be removed. What if the value does not exist? Suppose 20 I would like to remove, but that value is not there. So it means it will give you X not in list. It will give you an error. So you have to make sure whatever value, whatever object you are trying to remove has to be there. If it is not there, it will give you an error. All right. So in this way, this remove works. Next is clear. Now I'm saying I want to clear all the elements of the list. All right. So you can simply call this function, and this is in place operation, and it has cleared out the list. So if you talk about all these methods they do not return any value, and these they make changes in the existing list only. So you need to remember like that. If you want to make the changes in the existing list and they do not return any value, it means you have to use these functions are applicable over there. Appending, extending, inserting, removing, clearing out, and sort. Sort, another function is there which I have not discussed. So let's take this example only, which is given over here. So we have a list of items and I want to sort the list. Okay, so by default this particular sort method is going to, I'll show you the syntax. Okay, so sort method is expecting 2 arguments. First is the key value, second is the reverse. So in which order would you like to do the arrangement? Like in which order would you like to do it, like ascending order or descending order, right? That particular thing you can control from this argument. So by default it is what it is providing the sequence in the ascending order. So 1, 2, 7, 34, 67. That's quite simple, and it is optional arguments. These are optional arguments, right? And it sort in place. Ye dhyan rakhna, right? It means if there is an string, if there is a list exist in your program, if you have created a list and you want to quickly sort it out without creating a replica or without creating a new list, then you can use sort function, sort method, which will perform this sorting in place. In place means in the same original list itself. No new list will be created. So this will be the output. And if there is a fruits, these are the numbers. Let's say some fruits are there. First we'll have to see what is present in the fruits. In our case, nothing is present. I have to declare it again. Suppose in my fruits, all these elements are present, but apple is, let's say, is present over here. Okay. So these are my objects where you can see the difference. A is capital, A is small, and there's A is capital. You don't have to repeat it. And there's this mango, papaya, and let's see, this is a banana, right? I want to sort this list. So this is my original list, and I want to sort it out. If you sort this list, you'll see. If you neglect this capital A wala part, then you can say A, B, M, P. This is in the order of sequential A, B, C, D, right? See, small letters are there. So you can check the ASCII values, they are increasing. And if you check the ASCII value of A, obviously it is less than the smaller a. If you want to check, then 65 is the ASCII value for capital A or Unicode value, and the Unicode value for smaller a is 97. So which one is larger? Small a. That is why it is arranged in this manner. So if this part is clear, what if I have a combination of elements, combination of objects? A string is there, a number is there, a character is there. Character is string in Python. What if I want to sort like this? Obviously, it will lead to error because the same rule, this operator is not supported. The same thing here. I want to compare this object 10 with R. You cannot compare a string with a number, right? It will lead to error. So it's the same. If you try to do something like this, it will lead to error. Because sorting itself is comparing the elements, right? It is making the use of this operator. So you can't do that. So that is why this is incorrect.